Most people start their mornings in the same way, grabbing the phone, checking notifications, and letting the mind be pulled in a dozen directions before the day has even begun. And almost instantly, the mood of the morning is stolen by worry, stress, or irritation. But imagine if the very first words that left your mouth could shape your entire day. Imagine starting not with noise and distraction, but with clarity and strength. The Stoics believed the morning was the most important moment of life because it sets the rhythm for everything that follows. 5 simple affirmations spoken aloud each morning can shift you from being a prisoner of circumstance to the master of your own mind. What are they? Stay with me, and you'll discover how the wisdom of ancient philosophers can transform the way you rise, speak, and live each day. The way you begin the morning decides much of what follows. Think about it. If you wake already burdened with dread or irritation, the smallest obstacle feels like proof that the day is against you. But if you wake with a steady mind, clear about what matters and what does not, then even chaos has less power over you. The Stoics understood this deeply. Marcus Aurelius would remind himself each dawn that the day ahead would bring challenges, frustrations, and difficulties. He did not write these words to depress himself, but to prepare his mind so that nothing could take him by surprise. The morning is the battlefield where your first victory must be won, not against the world, but against yourself. Your thoughts are like seeds, and the first ones planted will often grow the strongest. If you allow panic, resentment, or distraction to take root, they will shape your decisions and color every encounter. But if you choose words of strength and clarity, you set a tone that guides your choices with calm authority. We do not control how the world wakes up. Some days bring storms, others sunshine, but we do control how we rise to meet them. By speaking deliberate affirmations at the very start, we claim our power before the world demands it from us. This practice is not about positive thinking or empty slogans. It is about aligning your mind with truths that withstand fortune and time. The morning, then, is not wasted silence. It is the hour to tell yourself who you are and how you will walk through the day ahead. The first affirmation is simple, but it has the strength to disarm much of the day's frustration. Today I will meet people with faults, and I will not be surprised. These words echo the wisdom of Marcus Aurelius, who wrote in his Meditations that every day he would encounter people who were selfish, ignorant, ungrateful, or arrogant. His solution was not to resent them, but to expect them. By remembering that human beings are fallible, he stripped their offenses of their power to wound him. Imagine walking into work and being greeted not by kindness but by irritation. Perhaps someone cuts you off mid-sentence, or a colleague takes credit for your idea. If you expected that every person would always be fair and respectful, the sting would be deep. But if you already told yourself in the morning, "I will meet people who fail to act wisely," then what might have felt like betrayal now feels like confirmation of what you already knew. There is no shock, and without shock, there is less anger. This affirmation is not about becoming cold or cynical. It is about adjusting your vision of reality. People act according to their understanding, their habits, their fears. When you remember this, you are less likely to take offense personally. You become less of a target for bitterness. By saying aloud that people will fail, you prepare yourself to respond not with fury, but with patience. And in this way, you are no longer a slave to the moods of others. You remain steady because you saw them coming before they even appeared. We struggle with people's flaws because we secretly expect the world to play by our script. We assume that drivers will be courteous, co-workers will be thoughtful, friends will always reply on time, and strangers will understand our point in an instant. When reality disagrees, we feel wronged, as if life has broken a promise. But the promise was never there. The Stoics say our pain often comes not from what happens, but from the belief that it should not have happened. So the clash is not between you and the other person. It is between your expectation and the truth. Think about traffic. Someone swerves into your lane without signaling. Your heart jumps. Heat rises in your neck. In that moment, what hurts most? Their move, or your belief that drivers should never act like that. On the internet, a stranger attacks your opinion. Is the wound from their words, or from your belief that people should debate fairly? At home, a loved one forgets something important. Is the pain from the event or from your story that love always remembers? The mind loves a tidy world, but people are complex. They carry worries you do not see, habits formed over years, and pressures that have nothing to do with you. When you reject this complexity, you choose irritation. When you accept it, you choose steadiness. Acceptance does not excuse harm. It simply removes the shock that multiplies harm. Ask a simple question when you feel that surge of anger. What did I expect? If the answer is perfection, then you have found the real source of the pain. Adjust the expectation, and the pain loosens its grip. This is why the morning affirmation works. It replaces "people should be perfect" with "people will be people." And when that becomes your base note, patience is no longer a struggle. It is the natural result of seeing the world as it is. The second affirmation strikes at the very heart of freedom. I control my mind, events do not. Epictetus, once a slave and later a teacher of kings, wrote that it is not things themselves that disturb us, but our judgments about them. This means the storm outside is not what unsettles you. It is your thought that the storm ruins your plans. The words of another do not harm you. It is your decision to take them as an insult that does the damage. When you place the source of peace outside yourself, you surrender it to chance. When you reclaim it, nothing can touch you. Picture a day when rain falls heavy and ruins the picnic you planned for weeks. You can say, "This day is destroyed, nothing good can happen now." Or you can say, "The rain is only water, and it nourishes the earth. The day remains mine to shape." The same sky, the same clouds, but a different judgment, and a completely different experience of life. Events have no meaning until you give them one. The market crashes, a friend cancels, your train is delayed. You can call it disaster, or you can call it opportunity for patience, practice, and perspective. The Stoic does not deny reality. The Stoic simply refuses to let reality dictate the state of the mind. Say these words in the morning, and they become your shield. I control my mind, events do not. Repeat them enough, and you begin to notice that the world loses its power to pull you apart. The chaos may remain, but you remain whole, because you are no longer owned by the rise and fall of fortune. You own yourself. The challenge, of course, is that the world is relentless in its attempt to claim your attention. Every morning, the news delivers stories designed to provoke fear or outrage. Social media tempts you with comparison and envy. Work and family demands can feel like waves crashing before you have even found your footing. In such a storm, it is easy to believe peace is impossible. But the truth is simpler. Peace is always possible because it is always a choice. Most people give their serenity away without noticing. A headline shapes their mood for hours. A careless comment from a stranger ruins their morning. A minor setback at work turns into a story that the whole week is against them. They live as if the mind is an open marketplace where anyone can walk in and rearrange the shelves. The Stoics called this slavery, the condition of being ruled not by reason, but by whatever passes through. The clarity comes in remembering what belongs to you. You do not own the actions of others. You do not own the weather, the economy, or the endless noise of the world. What you own is how you interpret, how you respond, and how you carry yourself through it all. That small circle of control is enough. It is a fortress if you choose to guard it. The morning affirmation, "I control my mind, events do not," is the reminder to hold the gate. Without it, the world enters and rules you. With it, the world may knock, shout, or demand, but it cannot enter unless you open the door. And in that quiet space, you find the strength that the world cannot steal. The third affirmation carries a truth many try to avoid. I can endure discomfort. It is not greater than me. The Stoics believed that hardship is not an enemy, but a teacher, training the mind and body to grow stronger. Seneca often practiced living with less than he could afford, eating coarse bread, wearing rough clothing, and sleeping on a hard bed. He would ask himself, "Is this what I feared?" And by enduring it, he proved to himself that he was not ruled by comfort. Consider the small moments in daily life. The shower turns cold unexpectedly. The coffee machine breaks. You face a long line at the store or a sudden delay in traffic. Many people crumble in these moments, cursing the inconvenience as if it were an injustice. Yet these are small tests, chances to practice endurance. If you cannot handle a little cold water, how will you face true loss? If you cannot wait calmly in line, how will you endure real suffering when it arrives? To affirm that you can endure discomfort is to remind yourself that pain and inconvenience are part of life, not interruptions to it. The body may complain, but the mind can remain steady. Discomfort does not have to poison the spirit. In fact, when faced with calm resolve, it often sharpens it. Each morning saying, "I can endure discomfort, it is not greater than me," plants courage in your heart before the day has a chance to test you, and when those small trials come, you will not be surprised. You will recognize them for what they are, opportunities to grow unshakable, to prove to yourself that nothing outside can break what is firm within. In our modern world, the fear of discomfort has become almost a way of life. We build climate control systems so the air is always the right temperature. We design apps to deliver food without leaving the couch. We avoid silence with endless streams of entertainment. These conveniences are not evil, but they quietly teach us to expect constant ease. And when even the smallest hardship appears, we react as though the universe has betrayed us. Contrast this with the lives of those who came before us. Soldiers marched for days with little food. Philosophers wrote by candlelight in cold stone rooms, and farmers endured long hours in fields under burning sun. Their trials shaped them into people who understood that pain is not the end of the world. Today, however, many cannot tolerate a slow internet connection without rage boiling to the surface. The gap between what we can endure and what we think we should endure has never been wider. The Stoics warned against this very trap. When you believe comfort is your right, life will feel cruel every time it withholds it. But when you view discomfort as natural, even useful, your relationship with hardship changes. The cold morning becomes a chance to test your strength. The missed meal becomes proof that you are not a slave to appetite. The long wait becomes practice in patience. By facing discomfort willingly, you discover that it has no power beyond what you give it. Each small trial becomes training for larger ones, and slowly, the fear of discomfort fades. In its place grows a steady confidence, the quiet knowledge that whatever life strips away, your spirit remains more durable than you once believed. The fourth affirmation may be the most difficult to speak, yet it carries the deepest freedom. Death is not to be feared, it gives life urgency. Marcus Aurelius urged himself often to remember that he was mortal, that the end could arrive at any moment. To some, this seems grim, even paralyzing. But for the Stoics, contemplating death was not about despair. It was about sharpening the way we live. Imagine waking up and truly remembering that this day could be your last. How differently would you move through it? Would you waste hours in pointless arguments? Would you scroll endlessly, envying the lives of others? Or would you take a deeper breath, look longer at the faces you love, and speak words you might otherwise withhold? Death, far from being a curse, is the lens that makes each moment valuable. Without it, we would drift as if we had infinite time. With it, we see how precious each passing hour truly is. The affirmation is not meant to create fear, but focus. By saying aloud, "Death is not to be feared," it gives life urgency. You shift your perspective. Instead of running from the thought of death, you turn and face it. You let it remind you that the meeting you dread will soon pass, that the insult you carry is not worth your limited breath, that joy is found in the present and not in waiting for perfect conditions. Those who deny death live half asleep, imagining that tomorrow is guaranteed. Those who accept death live awake, ready to act with courage and gratitude today. To remember mortality is not to surrender. It is to finally begin living as if life matters. One of the greatest problems of our age is the way we avoid thinking about death. We cover it with distractions, hide it behind entertainment, and soften it with endless busyness. We pretend that if we do not look at it, it will not look at us. But this forgetting has a cost. When we push mortality out of sight, we also push out urgency, gratitude, and perspective. We start to live as if time is limitless, and because of that illusion, we waste it. The ancients faced death constantly. Disease, war, and famine kept it close. They did not have the luxury of denial. For Marcus Aurelius, reminding himself of death was not a morbid act, but a practical one. It kept him humble, stripped his pride, and returned him to what mattered most. When you remember that you too will die, pettiness loses its grip. The argument you cling to feels smaller. The possessions you chase seem less necessary. What rises instead is a sharper appreciation for the breath in your lungs and the people in your life. Modern life, with its comforts and distractions, numbs us to this truth. But ignoring death does not protect us. It robs us of depth. We watch hours slip away into trivial pursuits because we believe we will always have another chance. The Stoic practice of memento mori, remember that you must die, is not about darkness, it is about light. It wakes you up. It says, stop sleeping through your days. When you embrace mortality as a fact rather than a fear, you begin to live more honestly. Every conversation becomes more precious. Every morning feels like a gift. And in that awareness, life is no longer something you rush through, but something you savor fully before it vanishes. The fifth affirmation is the anchor of Stoic philosophy. Virtue is my highest good. For the Stoics, virtue was not an abstract idea, but the compass for every decision. Courage, justice, wisdom, and self-control were the pillars on which a meaningful life rested. Everything else, wealth, reputation, pleasure, was secondary, fleeting, and often dangerous if pursued as ends in themselves. To say each morning that virtue is your highest good is to remind yourself that nothing else is worth more than living with integrity. Consider the story of Cato the Younger, a Roman senator known for his unwavering principles. In a time when corruption and bribery ruled politics, Cato refused every offer of gold or favor. Even his enemies admitted he could not be bought. He chose a harder road, often at great personal cost, because for him the measure of life was not comfort but character. His example remains a reminder that virtue, though invisible to many, leaves a mark that outlasts fortune and fame. In daily life, this affirmation gives clarity. You may face choices where the easier path tempts you, a chance to cut corners at work, to bend truth in conversation, to seek approval rather than honesty. Without a guiding principle, these choices blur together. But when you affirm that virtue is your highest good, the path becomes clearer. The decision is not about what is convenient, profitable, or popular. It is about what is right. This affirmation also protects you from the endless chase for more. Money can vanish, status can crumble, praise can fade. But if your highest good is virtue, you are never truly poor, never truly powerless. Each morning, by affirming this, you anchor yourself to something the world cannot take away: the freedom to live with honor. The temptation of shallow goals surrounds us constantly. From childhood, we are taught to measure success by the size of a paycheck, the number of followers, the prestige of a title. The world claps loudly for visible victories, but it rarely applauds quiet integrity. And so, without realizing it, many begin chasing shadows. They sacrifice time, health, even conscience for rewards that cannot satisfy. The Stoics warned that to make wealth, pleasure, or fame your highest pursuit is to build your house on shifting sand. Think about the endless cycle of desire. You tell yourself, if I just earn a little more, I will finally feel secure. But once you earn it, the horizon moves. You say, if I just reach this position, I will finally feel respected. You reach it, but the applause fades, and you need another. Like chasing the horizon, the end never comes closer. Pleasure, too, is fleeting. The taste of a meal, the thrill of a purchase, the glow of recognition, all vanish quickly, leaving the hunger sharper than before. The Stoic path offers a different measure. Instead of asking, how much have I gained? It asks, how well did I live? Did you act with courage when it was difficult? Did you show justice when it would have been easier to ignore? Did you exercise self-control when temptation pulled at you? Did you seek wisdom instead of comfort? These are the victories that do not fade because they belong entirely to you. By repeating, virtue is my highest good, you remind yourself that the applause of the crowd is not the final measure. When you choose integrity over convenience, you may lose admiration or opportunities, but you gain something greater: the peace of knowing that your life is built on solid ground, and that peace cannot be bought, borrowed, or stolen. It is the reward that lasts. The 5 affirmations are powerful only if they are lived, and the simplest way to live them is to make them part of your morning ritual. You do not need an elaborate routine. Begin by waking, sitting quietly, and taking a few steady breaths. Then speak each affirmation slowly and clearly. Today, I will meet people with faults, and I will not be surprised. I control my mind, events do not. I can endure discomfort, it is not greater than me. Death is not to be feared, it gives life urgency. Virtue is my highest good. These words do not need to be loud, but they must be deliberate. Speak them as if you are instructing yourself, because you are. Some find it helpful to write them in a journal each morning. The act of writing sharpens memory and forces reflection. Others prefer to close their eyes and repeat them like a prayer, letting each sentence settle before moving to the next. What matters is not the form, but the presence of mind you bring to it. This is not about blind repetition. It is about aligning yourself with truths that guide your day. There will be mornings when you forget, or when you rush past them with little thought. Do not let this discourage you. The Stoics never claimed perfection, they practiced. The habit is built in the return, not in never missing. Each time you come back to the affirmations, you are shaping the foundation of your character. Over time, you will notice a change. You will meet rudeness and not feel shaken. You will face setbacks without collapsing. You will greet discomfort with steadiness. You will remember death not with fear, but with gratitude. And you will choose integrity, not applause, as your measure of success. That is the quiet power of beginning your day with wisdom. Transformation does not happen in a single morning. It unfolds slowly, like stone shaped by water. At first, these affirmations may feel like words spoken into the air, fragile against the noise of daily life. But repeat them long enough and they begin to carve pathways in the mind. The Stoics knew that character is not formed by one great decision, but by countless small ones, made consistently over time. Imagine two lives side by side. One begins each day without thought, thrown into the current of distractions, reacting to whatever appears. This person is easily shaken, quick to anger, vulnerable to despair. The other begins each day with steady reminders. People will have faults. My mind is my own. Discomfort can be endured. Death gives urgency. Virtue is the highest good. Slowly, this person becomes harder to offend, slower to panic, quicker to act with purpose. The difference between them is not luck or talent. It is training. The affirmations are like weights lifted by the soul. At first, they may feel heavy, but strength builds through practice. What once seemed impossible, patience with a rude person, calm in the face of sudden change, courage in hardship, becomes natural. The mind no longer flinches at every difficulty. Instead, it meets life as a partner, not an enemy. With time, you will notice that others feel this steadiness in you. Your presence will bring calm instead of tension. Your words will carry weight, not because they are loud, but because they come from a place that cannot be shaken. This is the gift of discipline. Not just your own peace, but the ability to share peace with others. And it all begins with the quiet choice to start each morning with wisdom before the world demands your strength. Each morning offers a choice. You can rise and hand your mind to the noise of the world, or you can rise and claim it as your own. The Stoics remind us that the first words we speak to ourselves matter because they shape the direction of the entire day. That is why these 5 affirmations endure. They are not empty phrases. They are anchors, forged in the fires of experience, tested by centuries of human struggle. Today, I will meet people with faults, and I will not be surprised. This frees you from shock and resentment. I control my mind, events do not. This secures your peace against the chaos outside. I can endure discomfort. It is not greater than me. This builds strength where weakness once lived. Death is not to be feared. It gives life urgency. This strips away illusion and calls you to live fully now. Virtue is my highest good. This places your compass in what cannot be taken, guiding you when all else fades. Spoken each morning, these truths prepare you to meet the day, not as a victim, but as a master of yourself. They do not promise an easy life. They promise a strong life, a life lived with clarity and courage. And that is enough, because storms will come and losses will arrive, but a steady mind can endure all things. So tomorrow, when the alarm rings and the day is fresh, do not reach for distraction first. Reach for wisdom. Speak these words aloud, let them take root, and step into the day as the Stoics once did. Ready, calm, unshaken, and clear about what matters most. If these Stoic affirmations gave you strength for the day ahead, watch my next video where I share how Marcus Aurelius trained his mind for peace even in the midst of war.